To my first 1,000 subscribers, I want to thank you. It is probably about time I explain who the Philosophical Bachelor is and what I am trying to do with this channel. My name is Douglas Chu, and the reason why I call myself the Philosophical Bachelor is because listeners should be warned that while I consider myself a philosopher, I possess rather modest learning with only a bachelor's degree in philosophy. Many philosophers have a PhD, if not tenured professorship. I am not even on such a path. This is not because I think that academia is a path not worth pursuing. Not at all. I owe a profound debt to the academy. But given where I am in life, as a person past middle age by the time I got my philosophy bachelor's degree, that ship has kind of sailed. If I had continued my academic studies, taking 1 or 2 years for a master's and then say 3 to 5 years for a PhD, I'll be in my 50s by the time I obtain it, and then what? However, as Epicurus puts it, there is no better time to start philosophizing than now. For no one can come too early or too late to secure the health of his soul. So what I'm saying is that I intend to continue my philosophical journey, but I don't think I can do it the conventional way. Of course, there is nothing to stop one from thinking about the big questions, which is after all what philosophizing is. So that's what I am continuing to do. I may have come late in life to formal philosophy, but I've been a curious and inquiring person all my life. My earlier studies and work undertaken in my 20s were in engineering. It might seem like a huge detour if my endpoint is in philosophy, but I am also not sure that I could have done it sooner. When I was younger, I wanted to do something practical, and what can be more practical than engineering? I think even then, I already had a deep longing for solutions that are evergreen and eternal, which also explains why the engineering I chose was not in some new sexy field, but instead the well-established one of mechanical engineering. Just like I don't intend to criticize academia, neither do I wish to criticize engineering. Engineering is an important endeavor. I remain interested in it also. A person can have many interests, but in today's society, we seem to be compelled to have to choose one, at least professionally. I was not ready in my 20s, but I guess I am ready now for the philosophical life. I suppose I had to make the detour in order to come to that realization. Ideas, be they technical ones or philosophical ones, can change the world. Which brings me to what I am doing in philosophy. Study, thinking or contemplation, and writing, not necessarily in that order, are the three main components of my philosophic work. I read what interests me, which changes frequently, as the more I read, I find myself going in various directions, sometimes deeper, sometimes to other areas. I take varied approaches. At first I tried to cover the major classics of the philosophic canon, and in time I hope to study specific areas. But really, since I'm not in the academy, I have the freedom to go any which way. I need not take the path of specialization, which is more or less what academic research demands. I don't have to read the text in its original language. I don't have to try to publish in respected journals, though that path is mostly closed since it often requires institutional affiliation and also narrow-focused specialization. I don't have to cover the entire earth of a particular thinker. I don't have to try to publish in respected journals, though that path is mostly closed, since it often requires institutional affiliation and also narrow-focused specialization. Freedom, of course, has its price. It means I do not enjoy the recognition accorded to those with proper qualifications, and I probably will not be taken seriously. Well, who knows? To be taken seriously, I first have to produce what is worthy of being taken seriously. And it is to this end that I conduct my work. Many of the essays I write and record for the channel serves two purposes. The first is that they are notes I prepare for myself. They summarize the key points of what impressed me about the text I have read, so that I can easily remind myself what they are about without having to read the text again. In writing about them, I am forced to think about the issues, their arguments, and my personal response. It is a process of consolidating my knowledge. My second purpose is that these essays are a practice in writing. But preparation and practice for what, you may ask? Preparation and practice for the day when I actually have something important to say and have laid the groundwork so that I will be ready and able to write it down. The deepest problems bothering humankind has already been thought and written about, thoroughly pored over and analysed for thousands of years, since the beginning of human civilization by the greatest thinkers no less. To make any contribution whatsoever to this massive body of knowledge requires knowing what has already been done, and that, while difficult, is in fact the easy part. The hard part is being able to come up with something original and yet important, which explains why preparation and practice are in order. Having said that, there are of course no guarantees that I, the Philosophical Bachelor, will ever be able to come up with anything original and important. As a matter of fact, the odds are against me. Firstly, I am not that smart. Secondly, as aforementioned, a lot has already been done by really smart and/or highly qualified people. I do, however, think there is a need for some, not everyone, but some people, to try to philosophize, and by philosophize, I mean study, think, and write philosophy. The hardest problems confronting humankind are ultimately philosophical. Since they are hard, they obviously require tremendous concerted efforts, not just by any one person, but by many to make any headway at all. We continue to read the ancient philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle, Lao Tzu and Confucius, not only out of historical interest, but because the questions they sought to address in their time are still the very same questions we are asking today, thousands of years later. Yet our answers and approaches, while drawing on the wisdom across the ages, still require each age to make a fresh attempt to answer these questions, since the material and societal conditions of the world have changed, and our state of knowledge and their associated paradigms may differ. Sometimes the answers are univocal, though more often there is a competition between opposing views resulting in discourse. Sometimes what has been considered established and sacrosanct becomes uncertain and contested. Sometimes what is considered established and sacrosanct requires contestation in order for progress. As Francis Herbert Bradley tells us, even in fields as seemingly static as metaphysics, whether there is progress or not, at all events there is change. And the changed minds of each generation will require a difference in what has to satisfy their intellect. Hence, there seems as much reason for new philosophy as there is for new poetry. Let us thus continue to write our new poetry and our new philosophy. Which brings me to my final point. To have 1,000 subscribers is a significant moment for any YouTube channel, since it is one of two requirements for monetization. While the channel has met the minimum number of subscribers, it is far from meeting the other requirement, which is 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days. This channel has about half that, which means it is a long way from making a single cent from YouTube. But that doesn't really bother me. I do not do philosophy for the sake of money anyway. Let me tell you instead why I am heartened. Over the entire time the channel has been in existence, which is since 2021, there has been about 65,000 views from my 200 odd videos. On average, about 10% of all viewers watch each video completely. That makes 6,500 times someone has watched a video in its entirety. If only 10% of these complete views benefits its viewers, that means 650 people have benefited. Though admittedly, some of these will be the same people. Make that 10% again, I suppose the ones who truly find this channel beneficial to their knowledge. That still makes 65 people who have benefited, 0.1% of the total number of views. Still, even if only one person is encouraged because of what they gain from the channel to go on to pursue philosophy or achieve the slightest insight into a topic they themselves are investigating, I am already glad. In a way, my lack of monetization also tells me that my heart is pure in my pursuit of philosophy. I do not do it for fame nor for money, but because I think philosophy is important. To conclude, my primary purpose of writing these essays are to benefit my process of philosophical research and to support my own philosophic thought. However, I think others may also benefit. Putting my essays online on the Patreon and Medium.com sites and recording these videos are ways for me to get my work out to like-minded people such as yourselves. I thank you for accompanying me on my journey. As I had mentioned, the chance of me, or anyone really, finding any success in the world of philosophy is minuscule. By success, I do not mean financial success or fame. Let us recall what the word philosophy actually means. In Greek, philia means love and sophia means wisdom. As Plato tells us, philosophy is the love of wisdom. Hence, by success, I mean having something worthwhile to contribute to our collective enterprise of wisdom for the love of philosophy. The odds of me being able to offer some original insight are poor, but someone has got to try because it is important for humankind. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that we have the right to work, but never to the fruit of work. We should never engage in action for the sake of reward, nor should we long for inaction. Perform work in this world as a man established within himself, without selfish attachments and alike in success and defeat. I am fortunate enough to have a reasonable level of intellect and privileged enough to have the capacity to pursue what I love. So why shouldn't I be that someone? To have a shot at success, we have to put in the work so as to then have a hope of coming up with something. But if we do not put in the work, then all hope is lost. Even if the hope is slim, that is okay, because if something is worth doing, it is worth doing for its own sake and not for the sake of reward. On the other hand, who knows what the future may bring? One day, I may tire of philosophy, though if that day comes, it will be a cause for lamentation. Meanwhile, in 2024, I remain humble, hopeful but keen, armed with the understanding that philosophy is a journey, a grand adventure of the mind. I feel blessed that I'm able to participate in such an exciting voyage. Thank you for listening to the Philosophical Bachelor.